Okay, I'm going to do a 1-month garden update. Today is May the 5th. To the right, the mesclun bed has not changed much, but I have harvested from it several times this year. It's been a very cool spring. What I didn't take notice of before was my roses. They're now blooming every day. They're so beautiful. The fruit trees. This one blossomed. It was the only one. The others are still too immature, I suppose, but you can tell they have grown, even the little one on the end. The strawberries have been producing a little bit. This is only their first year, so they're looking very healthy and good. There's some little parsleys that I sowed under the fruit trees. The spinach never did grow very much, but the little head lettuces got quite big. The weather has been so nice. We've had 2 days above 85, so it has allowed the lettuce to perform very well this year. We've continued to harvest kale. The head lettuces that were growing here earlier have been harvested and replaced with cabbages. And the cutting lettuces are still here. They've been harvested many times. I'm going to harvest one more time today, but you'll notice next to it now is a row of green beans. Looking very healthy. And the carrot and beets have grown very well, especially the carrots. The beets have struggled. There's 2 different kinds. It might just be a matter of the type, or it might be the fertility, but you can tell these back here have really grown. Hardly any change with the elephant garlic, but I did not give it a good location. The potato row with the tomatoes down at the end, and I finally got some little okras to grow. I had to replant them 3 times because the weather has been so cold. The tomatoes are much bigger, about 2.5 feet tall now. Looking good, and I have been suckering them, and I even pinched off the first blossoms, which I've never done before, but I'm hoping it's going to pay off in the end. This is creeping thyme. It creeps between the stones and grows everywhere. I use that for soups. And on the fence is the grapes, and there's a nice little cluster there. You can see they have begun to make grapes. I've pruned those to just 1 cluster per branch, so I'm hoping this is the first time they've produced, and I've never grown grapes, so hoping for the best. Got 3 squash plants planted about a week ago, yellow squash and scallopini, the kind that Mama Clark used to grow. The morning glory has grown a little, Not much. Some volunteer zinnias, onions. There's only 2 kales left on this row, and I've replaced them all with little cabbages. The sweet peas growing on up there got quite tall, but they did not produce well. I think it's the variety. I'm not going to buy that kind again. And this is also a row of okra. You can see several little okra plants there. I had to replant all my okra because of the cool weather. Pretty cabbage coming along. I pulled the turnips out and hung them to dry. I've already gathered quite a few seeds, but these needed to dry a little longer. And the mustard got pulled out and put in the garage. Got a pretty little amaranth there blooming. I grow these as a trap crop for cucumber beetles. So later on, we'll see some beetles on there. The radishes grew very nicely. There's one. I've been eating those on the salad greens. I planted a watermelon. The asparagus has gotten really tall and bushy. We stopped harvesting those a couple of weeks ago. This is the broccoli that was behind the mustard. It has grown very much, and I've planted some little tiny pepper plants. These I grew from seed, and they struggled because it was so cold. I bought 3 jalapenos because mine didn't germinate from Tractor Supply, so hopefully those will do well. More radishes. This is where the turnips were growing, and I've sown basil and cilantro in my subarctic. That's the first blooms that don't get pinched off, so the second blooms. And at the end, the sunflowers. They were only a couple of inches tall, and they have done so beautifully. I've sown cucumbers in pots, and then there's cucumbers growing underneath the sunflowers. As I said before, they should climb up the sunflowers. This one got too cold, and I've sown more seed in there. And then down here, this one looks very well. That's a variety called pickle bush that you can grow in a pot. And then the ones growing underneath are a hybrid variety, which I don't grow often, but my father-in-law gave them to me. The solo garlic still has not flowered. It's been nearly 4 weeks. These are my early girl tomatoes. The row of potatoes. And my Roma tomatoes there. All looking very well. This is the row that was cut potatoes. They have obviously outperformed the ones I planted whole, so that was a good experiment. Along the fence is a muscadine that I did not show before. It does not have any blooms on it this year, and that's fine. It needs to get established, so I've just been trimming it and training it to go along the fence. Then beneath there is broccoli, and you can see that it has grown very tall, and I think some of it is collared. And one last panorama. And you can certainly see how much the grass in the chicken yard has grown. And they've eaten the other side almost completely, so we'll be moving them into this side this weekend, and we'll be butchering that rooster and 2 other roosters for friends.